Hello and welcome back to ENG Engine, and my name is Bharati. The topic in today's video is voice. What is voice? Let's get into the video. Voice is that branch of grammar which denotes the form that the verb takes in a sentence to determine the state of the subject and the object. Voice is that branch of grammar which denotes the form that the verb takes. So the form of the verb takes form in a sentence to determine the state of the subject and the object. So the form of the verb denotes the state of the subject and the object in voice. Now voice is identified as two types. One is the active voice, the other one is passive voice. What is this active voice and what is this passive voice? A same sentence which has the same meaning can be written in two different ways. One way is in the active voice and the other way is in the passive voice. What is the necessity to use a sentence in more than one way? Why do we use this active voice and passive voice? Well, it is because we may not feel to mention who the subject or the doer of the action is. This may be because mentioning the doer of the action may not be important, or we may not know who the doer of the action is, or we may not feel to reveal his or her name. For example, let me give you a sentence. Ramesh spoilt the celebration. Ramesh spoilt the celebration. This is a sentence and this sentence is in active voice. Ramesh spoilt the celebration. This becomes evident during the celebration. Everyone noticed that the celebration spoilt and Ramesh spoilt it. But when we discuss this issue with someone, we may not feel good to mention his name or to pinpoint his name. So we indirectly say the celebration was spoilt without mentioning his name. The celebration was spoilt. So this is passive voice. We need not mention the person who has done the action. And it is not that the subject need not be mentioned all the time. During such cases, the subject need not be mentioned. Now let us get into the topic. Active voice and passive voice. What is active voice? In active voice, the subject is the doer of the action. So in active voice, the person who does the action is the subject. The emphasis is on the subject or the doer. That is, the emphasis is on the subject or the doer. So the subject is given more importance in active voice. In passive voice, the subject receives the action and more emphasis is on the object. So more emphasis is on the object. Here the emphasis is on the subject in active voice. In passive voice, the emphasis is on the object. Let us look at an example. In active voice, Rakesh eats a cake. So Rakesh eats a cake. To learn this active voice and passive voice, very important thing which we have to know already is identification of the sentence pattern. Sentence pattern I have already taught you in the earlier videos. So identifying the sentence pattern is very important in active voice and passive voice. So in sentence pattern, what we identify is the subject, verb, object, then direct object, indirect object, complement and adjunct. So here in active voice and passive voice, mainly we have to identify the three elements, that is the subject, verb and object. So Rakesh eats a cake. Here, Rakesh is the subject, eats is the verb, and a cake is the object. What does he eat? Cake. So this cake is the object. The same sentence here, the subject is given importance. He is the doer of the action. The same sentence, when it is written in passive voice, importance is given to the object, that is cake. A cake is eaten by Rakesh. So the verb form has changed. That is why it is said that the verb determines the status of the subject and the object. Let us see. Active voice is used when more emphasis is on the subject or doer of the action. Passive voice is used when more emphasis is not given to the subject or the doer of the action. So in active voice, subject is given more emphasis. In passive voice, subject is not given more emphasis. Let us look at the example. People speak English all over the world. Here people is subject, speak is verb, and English is object. What do they speak? It is English. So people is the subject. And the same sentence when we write in the passive voice, it becomes English. So the object will come front. Yes, the object comes front. English is spoken all over the world. So English is spoken all over the world. So verb, there is a change. In the verb, there is a change. The next sentence, someone stole my purse. So the someone is the unknown person. So this is the subject and stole is the verb and my purse is the object. The same sentence in the passive voice, my purse is stolen. So we have this object here in the front and the stole here has taken a transformation as is stolen and the someone is missing. We don't know who that person is and so it is not necessary to mention that subject. The next sentence, the police arrested the thief. Here the police is the subject. So he is the doer of the action. What did he do? He arrested whom? The thief. So this is the pattern over here. And the same sentence in the passive voice, the thief was arrested. So the verb has taken a transformation here. The verb has taken a transformation. The thief was arrested. Here it is very clear that the arresting will be done by the police. So it need not be mentioned because it is understood. In the previous sentence, that is in the second sentence number 2, we don't know who the subject is. And in the third sentence, we know, it is understood who the subject is. Next, active voice can be changed to passive only if the verb is transitive. So to know the sentence pattern, we should know the transitive verb and intransitive verb. She sings a song. So she is the subject, sings is the verb. How do we identify an object? It should answer to the question what or whom. What did she sing? A song. So this is an object. So this is a transitive verb. Here, next sentence, she sings sweetly. She is the subject, sings is the verb. How? How do not answer to the object. How answers to the adjunct. How is adjunct? Okay. She is a singer. She is the subject. Is the verb. A singer. This is an incomplete sentence. So the sentence, when it is incomplete, the word which completes the sentence will be a complement. So there is no object in this one or this one. So these two are intransitive verbs. So only this sentence we can change it into passive voice because only this sentence has an object. The sentence is transitive only if the sentence has an object. Only if an object comes after a verb. So we should always remember SVO pattern we can change to passive voice. SVC we cannot change and SVA pattern we cannot change. If only object is there, we can change to passive. These two we cannot change to passive. Only 8 tenses can be converted from active voice to passive voice. On the whole, we have 12 tenses. On the whole, tenses are 12 in number, but only 8 can be changed from active voice to passive voice. The 4 tenses that cannot be converted from active voice to passive voice are future continuous, present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, and future perfect continuous. These 4 tenses we cannot change into passive voice. And there are 4 kinds of sentences. 4 kinds of sentences, out of which 3 kinds of sentences we can change to passive voice. That is declarative, interrogative, and imperative. Can be changed into passive voice. Declarative sentence, interrogative sentence, and imperative sentences can be changed to passive voice. The structure to frame passive voice, that is be verb, be form of verb, either of the be form of verb plus the past participle. The past participle can also be called as verb 3. So in simple present, the be form of verbs, that is the simple present, the structure of the verb will be is or are plus verb 3, that is past participle. In simple past, it will be was or were plus past participle. The verb form will change like this. In simple future, it will be either will or shall. This denotes the future tense, and be is the be form of verb for future tense and past participle. For present continuous, it is either is or are plus being. Continuous tense will have the ing verb, and so the be form of verb for the continuous tense is being plus verb 3, that is past participle. For past continuous, it will be either was or were plus being plus past participle. For present perfect tense, it is has or have plus been plus past participle. For past perfect, it is had plus been plus past participle. For future perfect, it will be will or shall plus been plus past participle. This is structure to frame passive voice, that is to change the verb form. Now, arrangement of words in active voice changes when changed to passive voice. That is, in active voice, the arrangement of words will be in one order. When it is changed to passive voice, the arrangement of the words will change. Look here, the first sentence. This is in active voice. Children threw the ball. So, children is the subject, threw is the verb, and the ball is the object. So, this is object and this is subject. When this is changed into passive voice, children will become the object of the passive voice. That is, the subject in the active voice will become the object in the passive voice. The object in the active voice will become the subject in the passive voice. And this through, that is the verb, will take, as I told in the earlier slide, in the previous slide, in the passive voice we will have a be form of verb and the past participle of the main verb. So threw is there, the past participle of threw is thrown. This is in past tense, so we use the past be verb because ball is singular. This I will explain in detail when we learn the further videos according to the tenses. Look at the next sentence. He locks the gate daily. This is active voice. Here he is the subject, locks is the verb, gate is the object, and daily is the adjunct. Adjunct we need not bother. Adjunct can be placed in the passive voice also wherever it is there in the active voice. So he is the subject and locks is the verb. So in the passive voice, this he will become the object of the passive voice, and the object in the active voice will become the subject of the passive voice. This locks will change. The verb will change. It will take a be form of verb and a past participle. Daily, the adjunct will remain in the same place in the passive voice also. Next, change in pronoun. When the subject in the active voice will change in the object in the passive voice, because the subject in the active voice will become the object in passive voice, so it will change. So if it is he in the active voice, it will become him in passive voice. If it is she in active voice, it will become her. If we is the subject in active voice, in passive voice it will become us. If they is the subject in the passive voice, it will become the object them. If I is the subject in active voice, in passive voice it will change to me. Well, now we got an introduction to voice and understood roughly what active voice and passive voice are. In the next coming videos, I'll teach the transformation of active voice to passive voice and passive voice to active voice using each tense form and the kinds of sentence. Hope you found this video useful. If so, give a thumbs up and a hit on the subscription button and the bell icon. Kindly leave your suggestions in the comment box. Thanks for watching.